Hi, this is Jack Downs with a little demo video for the slideshow exercises. We're going to combine slideshow 1 and 2 here. So I've begun by, you should have your instruction sheet out, by the way, of course, and I've already made my folders and I downloaded my images, 15 images and 1 audio file. And I have made a new project. Here I am, right? And you see an optional thing in your instructions for number 3. It says increase the default image length to 10 seconds. Do notice that we're going to be using images, which will be video, but images by themselves don't have any length, so this is a default that is set in the program. I encourage you to do this. If you don't, you'll just have to increase the length manually as you go. So you go to Preferences, and then you can go to Timeline, Edit, Preferences, Timeline. Mine, I think, is already changed. You would want to change yours here to 10 seconds. I've already set mine to 10 seconds. So there you go. That's going to also change the default length of some other things too, so just keep that in mind. Like when you make a piece of black video, for instance, to combine with your title slide, it will come in as 10 seconds now, and you just adjust it to 5. I think you'll be able to do that in the lab or whatever. It probably won't stick though. Okay, reading the instructions, it says create a sequence. And here's something that's different. This is before we necessarily even bring all the stuff in. I could have brought the stuff in here to the project media bin window. And it's down here that we can make the sequence. We're going to make the sequence because we don't have any base piece of video, which is good to start with. We could use an image to do it, but make it kind of a strange size. We want to have a basic video sequence started. So I'll go to this new item down here, go to sequence, and I would expect your choices are the same. We'll find out in the lab, I guess. And if so, this is a good default to use, NTSC standard. So say OK. And it made a sequence. I could have changed the name of it if I wanted to. Whatever. Good. Now I'm going to bring in all of my stuff. Turn to the next page because we're already all the way to the 3rd page. Wow. Bring in the audio, bring in all the files, and I could have already had them here too. So I'm going to go get them and just go do a drag and drop, and mine are here, right? Yeah. And I'm going to drag them all. I don't know what that other file is doing here. Don't worry about it. So we've got 15 images and 1 audio file. I'm going to just drag and drop them all into my media bin project window, whatever you want to call it. And there's a lot of them. Now, I could change to my assembly workspace, which allows me to see them more easily. On the other hand, I could just change to the list view, which I might do. At least I can do that for a moment to find my audio file, because I want to bring that in first. I'm going to drag and drop it on the top audio track. And I'm going to zoom in so that I can just see that. And I see what I have is 2 minutes. It's actually 2 minutes and 17 seconds of audio. Good. Now I'm going to probably change back to my other view here, toggle view. And you probably will have as part of this also a contact sheet of the images, but you can kind of look at the images here too. You will listen to this file, and as you do, you will hear that it's a little bit of narration from me, and I talk about this thing, right? So we start the file. I'll try to play it for you a little bit, and you'll hear that. Some music in the background.
Hundreds attended the 156th annual.
I do some narration. After a while, the music changes a little bit. More music. Okay, good. Then more music. Okay, more music. Okay, but then this is like the sound of kids playing at the carnival games and stuff, you know, and stuff like that. But then towards the very end, it changes to the carousel. So as you listen through that and you look through the images, you'll see you have images that kind of match up somewhat with one way or area or another. So your job is going to be to arrange these images on the timeline. You're going to use all of them once. They'll be roughly 10 seconds each, but you're going to have to change the length of them a little bit to account for the fact that they're not going to work out exactly evenly. okay? And you're going to put crossfades between each one. But as you start to drag and drop your images out here, I'm not telling you this is the order to use them. By the way, this should look like that. Yeah, okay, good. I did want to give you a preview of what we're going to be doing for slideshow 2. As you start to drag them out, and again, I'm not telling you this is the order. You pick your own order. You will be graded on how well your order matches up with the sound and so on, right? So I'm going to drag and drop this one on, and then I'm going to grab maybe somebody playing music. Well, there's somebody playing music right there, and then I'm going to drag and drop some cute kids, and then I'm going to drag and drop the one vertical image we have, Redford 3. Okay, good. But what has happened here? If I put my cursor here, and here, and here, and especially here, we'll see that these images don't exactly look like the images on the minis that we have. This one is sort of cut off, and these are all like smaller with black around them. Here's the problem. Images have their own resolution and their own file size and their own aspect ratio, which is not the same as your chunk of video. So you're going to have to, with each of these images, you're going to have to do something. You have to do a right click on the image, and we want to use set to frame size. So it's going to expand the image to set it to the frame size. This could go the other way around. You could have, if you had very large resolution images, have images that you're not seeing the whole thing because there's just too big to fit in there. That would work for this too. Why don't we use scale to frame size? There's a big long explanation about it. You can read about it online. There's people who talk about it, but set to frame size is what we want. And set to frame size. Oh, and I could, so I see it I'm doing. I want to see what I'm doing. I can move my scrubber along here, right? I'm going to set to frame size, and then I'm going to again go to here, and I'm going to set to frame size, and so on. And yes, you see that there is a little black bars around these, but that's not really an issue because, first of all, we don't have any other video behind them that we have to deal with. And besides, we want to see the whole image in these cases, at least to start with. Good. So you've done all that. You arrange them all. And then the instructions say to go ahead and please do a title slide and which is our normal sort of title slide, 2 lines, and there's instructions about what to write. And then to also do a credit roll of some kind. I give you the information. Remember, the credit roll probably should have a screen, that kind of background, fill background behind it, and it should roll. It'll have a few different lines. It'll be on the last slide. And in both cases, the title slide and the credit roll will have an image behind them, and we'll hear the video behind them. All right. And in both cases, we will do a crossfade out. Oh, I was supposed to do crossfades on these two, wasn't I? Yes. Okay, good. How do you do the crossfades here? Well, just to remind you, yes, you go to captions. Sorry, not captions, graphics, effects, and you could go to video transitions, dissolve, and you could drag and drop this on here. There's no audio fades necessary. Or you could go to the intersection between them, and you could do a right click and choose apply default transition, that is the default transition. And just to zoom in and show you that they are both crossfades in a similar sort of way. Same way. Okay, good. So you do apply crossfades. Yes, and so I wanted to tell you that for the transition, for the title slide, I want to make sure you have that gray screen behind it. So you can use the black video and change the opacity underneath it. And then you're going to save the project as you go, and you're going to make sure to save it at the end, and you're going to export your media as usual, and you're going to view it outside, and then you're going to stick it up on Brightspace. And that will be the end of part 1. Part 2 in just a moment. Okay, we're going on to slideshow 2, adding pan and crop. So I suggest that you save your project again, do a save as and save as maybe now as slideshow 2, in case you have to go back to slideshow 1. But you do have to start with the project. You can't just go take the MP4 you made last time and drag it in here. No, you have to start with the pieces of the project here again. So if for some reason you lost it, you have to build it back up again, and so on. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some kind of movement change to each of these slides. to each of these images. Sorry, to each of these images. So I'm in image 1 right now, and I'm going to go make sure I have my. I want to make sure I have my scrubber cursor at the very beginning of image 1. And I've selected image 1. I can see there's a line around it right here, right? Good. All right. I'm going to go to Effect Controls, and notice that. And if your screen should be set up roughly like this. I'm in Captions and Graphics right now, though, but I want to be in Editing. So Effects Controls will be like that. Okay, good. And if you need, you should have a little space here. If not, you may need to change this position a little bit. What we're going to be dealing with is position, scale, and maybe rotation. So we have to imagine that in this image, we're going to say, let's decide first of all what we're going to do. I'm going to start off in the full screen like this. Good. I'm going to use position, so let's say scale first. I'll use scale first, let's say. So I'm going to click on the, and I can use a little pull down there too if I want. Click on the toggle for scale, and notice that a keyframe, you can only see a little edge of it. That little triangle that was created is actually a diamond shape, but we're only seeing a little part of it was created. That's sort of saying that is the moment, at that moment, this is what the image looks like. Good. Now I'm going to move my cursor towards the end, like that. Okay, good. I'm going to change the scale. I'm going to hover over this number 155, which is the current scaling, what it used to fit the frame, and I'm going to zoom in by dragging this guy around. I'm going to zoom in something like that so we can see them more closely. Good. I've zoomed in, and we see another keyframe was created here. But at the same time, I would like to probably do position. So I can move my cursor back to the beginning. I can click on position, and then go back to where I was here and say at this position, this time I also want to change the position. These are X and Y coordinates. You'll get used to using them. It takes a little bit of practice. So I'm going to take the X and this is the horizontal one. I just get mixed up as far as which is which, X and Y. But anyway, it's a horizontal one. We want to deal with the vertical one. I'm going to slide the vertical up by going like that. And it moves it so that we've zoomed in and changed position around those two people. So what's going to happen when we play this through? Well, let's take a look. Go back to the beginning. Watch in your little mini window here, and I'll play it.
Hundreds attended the 156th annual Redford Picnic Sunday afternoon on the Church of the Assumption grounds.
So what happened was a long zoom into them, right? And that's a nice, the fact that it's nice and long. By the way, I can move these guys. I'm actually going to move them closer to the very end, both of the position and zoom. Okay. I could also, I could copy them. I could paste them. I could remove them, and so on. Okay, that's one kind of change. Let's look at another. Let's imagine on this guy, I want to start zoomed in and zoom out. Okay, good. So I'm going to put my cursor near the very beginning. I can make sure it's there here if I want to, because this is just so it's going to be the image. So I don't want to go back to the last image. I want to go up to this one. I'm screwed up. Let's go back again. I should probably use this cursor and put it right at the beginning. Good. Okay, there I am. And I'll get past the cross. Okay, good. So I'm at the very beginning. And again, I'm in Effect Controls. But I don't want to be on those guys. I want to be on, I don't want to be on the audio. I want to be on the image. Right, I just select the image. So I'm going to use position and scale again. But I'm going to activate them both at the beginning. But I'm not going to make any change here. No, sorry, I make a change. I'm going to make a complete change here. Yeah, I want them to start zoomed in and around that guy's head a little bit more. So I'm not going to move my cursor yet. I'm going to make the change right here. And here I go. Make a change, zoom in, and make a position change to go that way a little bit and to go up a little bit. But I don't want to show the black bar like that. Good. And then I'm going to bring my scrubber all the way towards the end. And then I'm going to reset both of these. Boom and boom. But I noticed that I've lost my initial zoom. I can't do my right-click set to width again. So I'm going to take my scale here. I'm going to move it back to where it was, which is about 150, which just gets rid of those black bars on the side. 154 will be fine, and I'm done. So what does this look like? Here we go. Back to the beginning of it. And we'll play it through. It starts zoomed in,
The rain
and
held on
gradually
for most of
zooms
the
out.
day as crowds of people participated in booth games, a rummage sale, danced to music by local bands.
Sorry, there might be a little discontinuity there as I had to take a break in this recording, but I'm back again. So I showed you a, let's see, a zoom in, which involved both scale and position, and then a zoom out, which involved both scale and position. Now you could argue that both those slides have what I would call multiple keyframe commands. And I tell you in the instructions that every slide has to have the movement of some kind, but at least three slides have to have multiple keyframe commands. But I guess when I say multiple keyframe commands, that's not exactly what I'm thinking about. Let's take a look at this one, okay, as an example. So here I am. I position my cursor just after the fade. My goal is going to be to zoom into one kid a little bit and then zoom across to the other kid. All right, so that's going to be multiple for sure. In fact, we're going to change direction and so on. So we can do things as like that. Honestly, what I've done so far, a slow zoom in and out, may even be a little more than you'd want to do in reality for a real production, because you want it to be a very gentle, just a little bit of movement that kind of just accentuates the direction you want someone to look and so on, right? Okay, so here we go. I'm on Redford 6. So my goal is going to be to begin with some scale and position. And I see my two keyframes have been made there, just slightly inside the beginning. And I'm going to try to move over here a little bit. Okay, good. So I'm going to scale in first, something like that, maybe that much. And then I'm going to change my position by going up a little bit and going over a lot. Nah, not too much though. I just want to get there. Probably a bit more zoom though, a bit more scale. And then I have to change my position again to go up a little bit and over a little bit. Honestly, I've worked with some other editing programs that allow you to do this a little more intuitively just by moving things around on the screen as opposed to dealing with these little sliders. But that's how it goes. All right. And then we're going to advance the scrubber, the cursor essentially, to say when we're this far, which is not very far really, we're going to have zoomed, positioned over to the other kid. So now I'm going to deal with position, and we're going to leave scale alone right now. So we'll just do position. So we'll say that the zoom factor doesn't change. So we're going to do position. Which position? That one. And I'm going to position over here like that. So we would have slid over there, which we didn't go too far. We went a little ways though. All right. And then I'm going to continue the cursor along, and I'm going to say about here near the end, I'm going to have gone back out again. So I went zoomed in, moved, and I'm coming back out again. So this is definitely qualifies as multiple keyframes, right? And to go back out, I'm going to use the reset parameter on position and on scale. And as usual, the scale, there's a problem, right? The problem is that I have to re-zoom it back out again to about where it was. Okay. And let's go ahead and play this through and see what it's like, okay? I'm going to turn the volume down here. You don't need that so much. And I'm going to open this up a little bit too, like that maybe, something like that, so you see it a little bigger, and so on.
Rode on the famous 1890s carousel, one of the oldest in the nation.
So it started zoomed in, it moved over, and then the whole thing zooms out again.
Family fun event.
Yeah. And, all right, so there we go. And what would I do with this slide here, this image here? I could definitely just zoom in on that kid there. That would make some sense for a single zoom. Or I could zoom in that kid and then look at the ducks or something like that. Or zoom in on this kid who's looking down and then go there a little bit. That'd be multiple movement. So I'm not going to do any more. And as you see on this one, I don't have the credit roll, but I did add the intro slide, and I did do a black video below it. I did put crossfades on each. I did offset this slightly, and you will have done that sort of thing too on the first one too. But I want to show you the only place you don't have to do this. This is optional. But if you want to do something extreme, or you could say weird, I suppose, do it with the titles. So I've got the titles selected here. Okay, not the black video, the titles. And my goal is going to be, I want to zoom in, like go from here and then very quickly zoom in really hard on the text, and then zoom along the text, and then jump back out again, and then make the whole thing spin. And this is definitely stuff you would not normally do, but just to show you what is possible and have you try it too if you wish. Would be, what do we do? Well, we're going to go ahead and turn these both on. Both our position and scale are on. So we set our starting position, good, which is normal. And then we're just going to move the cursor a little bit, and we're going to do a giant zoom in on those letters. So it's going to have to be some position involved too. And I'm going to zoom like crazy, like so that the letter gets enormous. And you see how it looks kind of choppy and kind of bitted out a little bit, a little fuzzy, sort of like. That's okay. It'll look a little better probably on the render, but we are doing a ridiculously big zoom. And anytime you zoom in on an image, you have the potential for it to be a little bit weird. I'm going to go back to the beginning, which is the beginning with the R for Redford. Start there, right? And I'm going to position it down a little bit too, so it's more middle of the screen. So that's, we've zoomed into there. I'm going to move the position a little more. Each time we're saying, and at this point, what's going to happen? Well, at this point, we're going to go zooming along those letters. So we're just going to change position here, okay? So I'm going to go to position, and I'm going to start to go, no, I don't want to go up or down. I want to go this way. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to zoom along those letters. And I'm going like zooming. I'm using the slider, which honestly is so inefficient. Look at my position has become negative now. We can't see it, but really I've gone off the screen. There's a gap at the end of that. I've gotten to the end. We'll say about there. With NIC is remaining. That's it. Okay, good. Then I'm going to move this out again to about here, and I'm going to zoom back out again. Reset position. Reset scale. The scale is off to good. Back to 100%. Excellent. And then finally, I'm going to between there and the last point, which will be just when the dissolve is beginning or so, I'm going to make it spin. What do I mean make it spin? So we'll say between there and the next spot, I'm going to remove these. They will no longer, well, actually I can leave them on. I leave them on, that's fine. I'm going to add rotation though. So I click on rotation. Okay, good. And I get, if I look at the little pull down here, I get a little wheel. Okay. By the way, for scale, yeah, I had a bigger slider here. I could have used that. And for position, I don't have much of anything there to help me with, I'm afraid. So that's not going to help. But I do get a velocity that'll show me. But you could explore this a little more. Scale, perhaps I should have used this big slider here. Anyway, what we're looking at is rotation. And I do the little pull down, and I see this dial. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go make it spin like crazy. I'm going to spin it around a bunch of times and make it end up kind of haphazardly like that. All those spins should be there, contained within, it should happen between here and here, as contained within that keyframe now. So let's go ahead and play that and see what happens. And there's no like save it. That's weird. Is it starting that way? Huh. Let's try it. It goes off, goes back. Oh, I see. My spin I didn't start to begin with. Okay, let's see if I can fix that. Okay. let's go to my rotation. I'm going back to the very beginning, right? The beginning point. I'm going to rotation, and I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to reset it. Reset rotation to 0. It's not doing it, probably because there is another keyframe there somewhere, is there? No, there's not. Interesting. Pull down, rotation. I guess I will go to beginning rotation. Oh, I get it. I know what's wrong. I'm at the wrong video selected. Boom, there. That makes more sense. And now I go to rotation, and I'm going to zap it back to the beginning. That's the black video. Shoot, I want that one. Okay, rotation is turned on, and I'm going to zap it back to the beginning. Okay, so we say rotation goes at the beginning is there, and then it shouldn't start spinning at all yet. That's right, we have to go to here and set a keyframe of rotation again of reset parameters. Good. Now all the change happens from here to here, the spinning and the moving. Good, yeah. All right, let's try that again. So sometimes you have to go back. I could have deleted the keyframe and started over again. I'm not dealing with these. They could have been turned off, but this one. So we have to make sure we set first the way we want it to start, and that's what I forgot to do. And then again, it holds to a certain point. So I repeat that there, and then from there to there is where the change happens. Okay, let's try it again. Here we go. Zooms in, flies along, it comes, zooms back out again, zooms, spins around, then it goes away, and everything else goes as normal with a nice slow thing there, and a zoom out, and so on. Okay, so that's a little fun with pan and crop. We are doing it with still images, which makes the most sense, I think. However, you could do the same thing with active moving video, although usually you would only do it if someone was just pretty much sitting still, just speaking perhaps on video, and then maybe make a very slow zoom in or pan to something that they're holding or something. Even so, remember, any zoom or pan is going, zoom in particular, is going to potentially reduce the resolution you have available. And frankly, these techniques are mostly just done on images. As usual, make sure to save your work as you go. Make sure then render as normal. Do the export as normal, and then upload it. And then look at it outside the program to make sure you got what you wanted, and then go ahead and upload it. And of course, you have to finish off and do all of these. I only did that. And of course, you would still have your credit roll at the end too, which would be unchanged from number 1, I guess.